My name's Nathan Hanners. I'm the product manager for Unity Cloud Build. With me is Stephen Palmer. He's our lead engineer.
Hi.
We're from Unity's office in Austin, Texas, and we're here today to talk to you about Cloud Build. Before I get started, how many of you are already using Cloud Build? If you could raise your hand. None of you. Excellent. / not excellent. And how many of you are using source control in your Unity projects? That is excellent. Fantastic. So, yeah, Unity Cloud Build is, like John said this morning in his keynote, Unity likes to democratize game development and solve hard problems. And we like to think that Unity Cloud Build is both of those things. We've made continuous integration and distribution accessible to everyone, even people who are not build engineers. And it's very magical, especially to people who haven't used continuous integration before. The basic overview of the system is you connect it to your source control. You just tell us where your repo is. It's okay if it's private. We'll create our own SSH key and you can add us to the system. It can be read-only. We detect when you've pushed commits to your server. We kick off build processes, which are highly customizable, and then anyone on your team can install and test your game on a device over the air. This means that even artists who might not even have just committed a change using Unity, they may have just changed an asset, can commit something and trigger a new build and look at their work on a device without having to go bother a developer to make new builds and then find the device they want to test it on. It's really powerful. I'm going to hand it over to Stephen for a bit, and he's going to take you through the core functionality of the system.
Yeah. Thanks. So yeah, I'm just going to walk through a little bit of the Cloud Build interface on the website. As you can see here, we give you a nice overview of all your project data. So when you configure a project and start to do builds, you'll see this on the front page, and it gives you basically a view of the latest versions for each platform that you've built. And it shows you which of these versions can be installed on the device that you're currently viewing the web page from. From here, you can drill down into the history for each project, the build history. So we keep track of build number for each, or we assign a build number for each build for each platform. And we keep track of the commit ID for every build. And from here, you can access the build log files. You can, depending on what device you're on, you can install it directly, any previous version. You can generate links to share with your other developers or with publishing partners. And generally just give you an overview of a project's history. We also keep track of the settings that change between builds, so you can, if you make a setting change and a build breaks, you can kind of go back and keep track of what was changed. On the stats tab, we give you some basic kind of overall health information on your build. We keep track of successful, canceled, and failed builds, and we'll kind of give you an overview of that, and then also the average project size and the average build time. Next, we have the collaborators tab. Collaborators are other developers working with you on this project. It's a very straightforward, simple system to use. You put an email address in, and if the user is already using Cloud Build on another project, they'll have immediate access. If not, they'll get an email invitation to come join you and collaborate. A collaborator has full access to your project other than deleting it, so they're co-developers with you, and they'll also receive all the notification emails that you get for build success and failures. Oh, another thing you can do from this page that's not pictured here, you can actually transfer ownership of a project from one user to another if you're changing organizations. So here's the project settings page. After you set up a project, you can always come back here and make changes as necessary. You can adjust the branch that you're checking out from. You can adjust the version of Unity that you're building with. Incidentally, we support building with Unity going all the way back to version 4.2.2, I believe, and all versions in between up to the latest 5X release. You can also access advanced build settings. which is on this page, where you can do some things like toggle the development build. You can set any number of scripting defined symbols that will be injected into the build process. You can define the name of a method that we will actually call in C# before the build player exports, and from there you can do whatever you want to do before the build player exports. And also we have a post-export method as well that will run after the export process. You can also define a custom scene list. Otherwise it will use whatever scenes you have defined to be built in the in-editor build window. And so here's a view of the home page on a phone. And as you can see, since it's an iOS device, it detects that you're on an iOS device and it allows you to directly install the build onto the device, as long as it's provisioned. With that, I'll turn it back over to Nate.
Thank you, Stephen. So yeah, you can see that it extends your build process into the cloud, which not only allows any team member to trigger build processes, and build your game and test it and get it onto a device. You can share a link with your friends in another city and they can install it and check it out. And the reason we built this service was we were game developers. We had a studio we were working at, and the build process, the build pipeline was taking up a lot of time. It's hard to maintain those things, and fundamentally we wanted to save time. And now as Unity Cloud Build, we're super interested in saving you time so that you can focus on making your game. And since we've gone into commercial launch at GDC this year, we've seen great results from all of our users. Here's some of the stats, like over 20,000 users signed up for the service. We've got over 4,500 projects building. But my favorite statistic is 200,000 hours of developer time saved. That means that when we run a build for you, and assuming you don't run it for some reason also at the same time on your local machine, that's time you just spent going straight back to work while we were doing the building, and you didn't have to sit there and wait for the build to complete, right? So that's how much time we've saved for people who are using Cloud Build, who want to focus on making the game better, not debugging their build process. And it's been really rewarding to see what users say about the service. These are just some of our favorite tweets that people have sent out. My favorite one is the most magical thing ever invented. But this is what happens, I think, when you solve a hard problem for users, right? They just are happy. They don't have to do boring, repetitive stuff that they didn't really get into game development to do. They can add all that time up that they've saved and spend it making the game even better. So that makes us really happy, especially as former game developers. So you can get started today. Since most of you are already using source control, you just need to be using Git, SVN, Mercurial, or Perforce. We support, it doesn't matter what Unity version you're using, we support from the latest release all the way back to 4.2.2. And right now the platforms we support are iOS, Android, and Web Player. We have more coming, which I'll get to in a minute. If you're not using source control, but you're interested in this service and you think that you'd like to use it, don't be too nervous about signing up for source control. We have some great documentation on our website about how to get you started. There's great options available. Source control has never been easier to use than it is today. And the sooner you start using it, the happier you'll be when it turns out you need it. And you get to use Cloud Build, so it's a win-win. Then you just have to pick a pricing plan. We have a free plan, which is fantastic. There's also a Pro plan, and actually if you have Unity 5 Pro subscription, you already have Cloud Build Pro. You just have to come to our site and claim it. It'll bounce you to the online store and tell you you're about to buy it for $0 and you'll be set. There's a studio plan and an enterprise plan. The thing to remember about our pricing, and here's the features of the plans. You can read about this on our website, but here's how the features break out for each plan. But the thing to remember about our plans is it's a very flexible structure. All the plans are month to month. You can go from free to studio to pro the next month to free the month after that. There's no yearly commitment or anything. Your projects that you create, once you have a plan, will inherit the features that you've paid for, even for the collaborators you invite, which means that if you have a team of 10 people who want to use Cloud Build and they want to use this, they think they need the studio features, just one person has to get studio. You can add everyone else on a free plan. It's fine. That's how we design the system, because we just care about the one project we're building that you paid for us to build and to use all the features. So it's really affordable. There's an unlimited number of projects you can put into the system. The free users, if you invited them when they created their own project, then it would be treated as a free project. So very flexible system. We believe that it's for everyone. Sometimes we talk to people and they think, well, I'm building locally, like why do I need to build in the cloud? Well, first of all, it's super easy. You don't have to, people think that means you have to do a bunch of configuration and hacking. You don't have to do any of that. You just give us the GitHub URL or wherever, it can be self-hosted if you prefer. The setup wizard is very painless. It's like 5 steps and you're done. You never have to do the setup again. And then magically you commit stuff and these emails pop up telling you whether your build is busted or whether it's working fine. And it's, super easy continuous integration for beginners who aren't used to, who kind of are interested but not sure. And just to be clear, like, if you think about, if you're building for multiple platforms, you're developing for iOS and web player and Android, and you want to test your game, you've got to test it for all those 3 things. And if you're building locally, this is just for the people who are not sure yet about continuous integration. If you're building locally, right, you've got to build for one, wait for that to finish, install it and test it. Build for the other, wait for that to finish. And even if that's 20 minutes for each build, or 10 minutes, right? That's 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes for each platform, 30 minutes. In the cloud, all that stuff happens, especially in our paid plans, happens concurrently. Those things happen simultaneously. So that saves you time right away, plus not even getting into the time you save not having to upload your build to test flight or Hockey App or something. We just do all that for you. For small teams, it unlocks all the team members. You don't have to have, it makes everyone, it's almost like we're a member of your team. We're your build engineer since you don't have your own. You can rely on us to do the build process for you, and anyone on your team can make a build. For really big teams that have build engineers, we love you, you're one of us. We want you to integrate us into your infrastructure. And that's why we have a pretty cool API that just keeps getting better. If you're doing really complicated things with your build process, awesome. Offload the Unity building stuff to us because, frankly, we're the best at it. We'll send you back the results. You can use use some of the advanced features that Stephen mentioned, like the pre and post export steps. It's very extensible, very customizable. So what's next for Cloud Build? Well, we're part of the Unity family, so we want to support eventually all the platforms that Unity supports. This year, we're going to be adding desktop platforms in a limited beta at first. And we're going to get to WebGL as well. We're looking forward to adding more integrations and features, hopefully more magic. And we're always listening to our customers. We're very active in the community. We have a feedback category on the feedback website for Unity, so you can request and vote for features there. There's tremendous potential in this system, and when people start using it, the reaction is almost always freedom, and they're liberated from doing the stuff that they thought they had to do that was very, manual feeling now. So we have some time left. I was hoping we could take some questions if people have questions about the service. Yes?
What about testing?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. We run Unity unit tests right now in Cloud Build. This was a feature that we just introduced relatively recently. And it's not currently exposed in our interface, but it will be shortly. But if you're using it, once you sign up for Cloud Build and you want to try the unit test too, just email us at this address and we'll turn it on for you. And the way unit tests work is you can tell us if you want your tests to, if it fails the test, if you want it to count that build as a failure or not. So you could have a successful build that failed the test, or a successful build that failed the test and therefore was labeled a failure.
And the test output will show up in your log.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's appended to your build logs. So, yes.
Yes, we have a web player game, quite small for the web player build, but then we have lots and lots of asset bundles. How would we go about that?
So you can build asset bundles. You would do that in a kind of post-export method. Right now, to publish those asset bundles, you would have to write a script to do that, which you could also do in the post-export method. We allow you kind of full access to the build environment. So if you need to use curl and upload stuff, you can do that right now too.
Yeah, but if I would build it in the post method, then I still have to download the asset bundle some way.
Right. You would have to, yeah, so right now you would have to publish them somewhere yourself. Part of our roadmap is to have more deeply integrated asset bundle support. We're not ready to talk about exactly what that looks like yet, but yeah, that's coming. So right now it's a bit of a manual process, but all the hooks are there for you to do it.
Yeah, we have some customers who are doing that now, and they're using the system to make their asset bundles, and they just have it pushed. When it's done, it pushes the asset bundles to like an Amazon S3 bucket or something for them to access later. Yes?
Are there any plans to support Unity Asset Server as a platform?
We like Unity Asset Server. We've been looking at that for a while. It has some kind of unique challenges, but we're interested in solving that problem. You know, I'm not really sure where on our roadmap that fits right now. But if you're using Unity Asset Server, you know, you come talk to us at the booth, and we can figure out how you're using it and see how we can link these things up.
Yep.
Any more questions? Maybe I have time to do a...
Oh, you get one.
Oh, yeah. Please go ahead.
What about very custom iOS frameworks, etc.? Should those be just introduced by post-build scripts, or what do you propose?
So we recommend using Unity's Xcode manipulation API. It's an open source framework that you can add as a plugin, and then you have C# interface to modify, add frameworks, etc. So that's what we recommend doing.
Okay, well, oh, another question in the back.
Last one.
Yeah, so asset bundles again. We're exporting 4 different Android asset bundles. If we were going to use Unity Cloud to do it, would we have to build the Android version and then each of the asset bundles in that? And what kind of time implications are there going to be on that? Because currently we use Jenkins and we try and distribute it across different machines.
Right. So you could set up actually 4 separate projects that run in parallel, and you could do all of that at the same time. We are working on consolidating that sort of scenario into a single project with multiple build targets. So you could run 4 or 5 or however many build targets within one single project configured to do various tasks, basically. So right now, we support it under the hood, but our website only lets you configure one for each platform. So in a few months, though, we'll have a kind of a refactored website that will expose this configuration functionality.
If there's no more questions, I have a little over 5 minutes left, and I can show you how quick the setup wizard is. It's ridiculously fast. Probably will take me 3 minutes, but if we could switch the display. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's an example project we have on GitHub, right? It's a public project, so there's no password protection on it. It could be, if it was password protected, that'd be, or a private repo, that would be fine. I'm just going to take that URL. I'm going to go to the Cloud Build website and click Add New. And all I have to do is paste in this URL. Cloud Build sees enough of these source control URLs that it knows when it's Git, right? So it already figured out that it's a Git repo. It's going to check to see if it needs any special access to get to the repo. Since it's public, it doesn't, so it skips that step. The analyze step would normally be where you would pick a branch, but there's only one branch, so it skips that step. And now we're at this settings page. So we're already more than halfway done. I just have to say, demo project. Master branch, yes. Let's build it with the latest 5X. I'm going to build for Android and web player, just so I can skip the iOS credentials step. It's going to ask me if I want any special credentials for Android or not. I can build with a development key store, and it'll just let me do whatever I like. So I have to just give it a bundle ID. Let's say use the development key store. I could also add one if I wanted, but I'm just going to use the development one for now. Now I'm done. So it's going to save all that credential information, immediately kick off a build for me, and then anytime someone committed changes to that GitHub repo, it would do a new build. So it says, yep, okay, we're all set, we're building it. Check back, you'll get an email when it's done, or you can just wait here and watch the results page. So that's like, I can't see the timer, but I bet you that was less than 2 minutes to continuous integration. So that's how simple it is. And once you do that, you don't have to do it again unless you fundamentally change your settings. So. And if in case we didn't say it before, emails come in. You don't even have to go to the website. You can just look in your email and find out when things are built or not. So Thanks very much for your time. Please come see us at our booth. Appreciate it.